Hello and welcome, guys. We're here for round two with the list that you see on screen, Flippin Amulet, continuation of a deck that I did in the past. And if you want to know more information about the deck list, then go ahead and check out match one. That's where I discuss the changes and the philosophy behind the deck. But yeah, I'm not going to go into that right now. Let's just jump straight into the matches. I will see you guys in the games. All right, we have our match. What do you guys think about this deck? By the way, I didn't get any comments in match one about the composition of the deck or the idea behind it, and it's a pretty unique deck, so I'm a little surprised on that. If you have any particular thoughts on this particular deck list, then let me know. As we see a hand with many different split cards here, we technically have 5 lands in this hand. We have a Titan. We don't have a 3-drop. In fact, we don't have any ramp at all. I don't know. This hand's kind of sketch. I think I'm willing to mulligan this. I think we can do better. There we go. Now we got a bounce land and an amulet, and we do have a land to cast amulet on turn 2. I think we're definitely keeping this. And the card we bottom is probably one of these two coursers, I would think. I am fine with that. And yeah, let's lead on this tapped Florahedron and pass it back. We can play amulet into a hard-casted Florahedron if we want to this upcoming turn by picking up the Tangled Veil with our Gruul Turf. Don't know if that's going to be the play or not, but we will find out. I mean, it might be better than doing absolutely nothing this upcoming turn. That said, our Florahedron might be better as a land than as a creature, as we see a turn 1 Spell Bomb. Interesting, so this is probably some kind of blue-black Urza deck. That Grazer is actually a very good one. It means we're casting a Dryad this turn. So let's go ahead and do that. And we might still play our Florahedron. That remains to be seen. We're definitely picking up the Florahedron here to have the ability. And Dryad. We could also play the Florahedron as a land. It doesn't guarantee that we'll have Titan mana this upcoming turn, regardless of whether we keep our Dryad in play or not. If we keep our Dryad in play, we'll have Titan mana, and if we don't, then we won't. And the Florahedron doesn't change that. It would have been nice to be able to play the Courser this turn, but I think we can just do that one next turn. I am inclined to just play the Florahedron out as a creature here, but it could be wrong. I don't know. We're exposing it to a potential Fatal Push, but eh. If they want to Fatal Push our Florahedron instead of our Dryad or our Courser, I'm pretty okay with that, so. I don't know. What do you think? Would it have been better to play the Florahedron as a land here, or no? Was our opponent just passing it back, or was that a misclick? Okay, so we do see a blue fetch land here. Not surprising in the slightest. Chromatic Star. So our opponent is still holding up the counterspell here. Metallic Rebuke. I believe it costs 1 less for each artifact they have. So they could mana leak us here. Definitely something to be considering. We can play around that by playing our Gruul Turf twice and then playing Courser. But then if there's a land on top of our library, we don't get the value out of it, so. Our opponent looks like they might be casting something here anyways, though, so. Emery, okay. And they do have Metallic Rebuke in their deck here, as they mill over a Rebuke and a Whir. That Whir might become relevant if they're able to get up to enough mana to, or enough islands, I should say, to Mystic Sanctuary back of the Whir. They are playing Sword of the Meek as well, so there's that. I'm going to lead on the Courser here. We might just be able to hit land off the top, or we'll find a redundant amulet. That's kind of unfortunate. We can't even make a land drop progress here, actually. I guess we can at least gain the life, but it's kind of awkward. Maybe that's a reason to have played the Florahedron as a land. Leaving our blue sources in play for transmuting Tolaria West, and we'll get our free attack for 2 here, because we might as well. if we do find a Turn Timber Symbiosis off the top of our deck, we can put it into play with Courser. So that would be 4, 5, 6. We'd be one short of casting Turn Timber. Although we're going to have another Amulet, so actually we'll have plenty of mana to be able to play the Turn Timber as a land, play a bounce land, pick it up, and cast it. So that is definitely something that we can do here, assuming we keep our Courser in play. Our opponent goes ahead and makes a white mana with their Chromatic Star. That's intriguing. Wonder if our opponent is playing 3 mana Teferi in their deck. Teferi Time Raveler. It's probably just a Thopter Foundry here, I guess. Yeah. That one's kind of annoying. We can still beat them with Valakut triggers all in one turn. So there's that. We also have a Bajuka Bog to exile their Sword of the Meek if we can catch it in the graveyard. But, I don't know, we'll have to see. Alright, we'd like to see a Turn Timber Symbiosis on top of our deck here. That is not a Turn Timber. Let's go ahead. I guess we're probably not attacking with the Florahedron here, so it's probably fine to do this. Amulet. Gruul Turf off the top. Definitely don't want to be yielding to these amulets anymore, although we're not using the mana this turn, so it actually doesn't matter here, but... And this is really awkward that we don't have a land to pick up. Let's just keep gaining our life, I guess. Alright. Well, we have a Summoner's Pact to get a Titan into play this upcoming turn, so we might be alright. And there's no point in attacking with the Dryad because they'll just sacrifice their Spell Bomb to the Thopter Foundry to get a 1/1 and then bring back the sword and attach the sword to make it into a 2/4, so or 2/3. So we won't actually get any damage through. I guess if we attack with both Dryad and Courser, we get damage. So let's do that. Yep, here comes the Thopter Foundry thing. We probably don't want to always yield this. I mean, I don't think there's a way for us to flash in a Bajuka Bog at instant speed. That's something that you could do with Sakura Tribe Scout instead of Arboreal Grazer. So we are suffering a little bit from that particular choice in this matchup. But, I mean, we'd have to have the Bog in our hand already for that to work out, so. Right, let's get our 2 damage through. And hope that our Titan for next turn is good. Our opponent doesn't seem to be playing a Mystic Sanctuary mana base here, as their Darkslick Shores is a non-island. Definitely something interesting to note. It could be that they've just drawn the non-island lands in their deck here. Perhaps they still are playing Sanctuary. We have no way of knowing for certain. I believe an Urza here would just be infinite life and infinite creatures, so I don't think that we could beat an Urza, but barring that, Explosives on 1. Unfortunate. Yeah, we're looking really bad here. Our opponent is letting us get a untap trigger out of our amulets before blowing their explosives, which seems like a huge mistake to me, but that's okay. And we'll just pick up the Gruul Turf here. I'm inclined to go ahead and summon this pack so we can see what our next top card is, because we know we definitely don't want Grazer, and our opponent, they really need to stop us from casting Titan this turn, so, alright, we'll get the Titan, of course. And before our opponent can stop us from playing around Metallic Rebuke, let's do that. I think our opponent really messed up by not blowing this explosives immediately, but we'll see. Maybe they have a plan here. Maybe they have a plan that I don't understand. Alright, let's pick up the Gruul Turf, of course. Here goes the big guy. See what our opponent has. Metallic Rebuke does not cut it. Alright, so that happens. We're definitely searching for Valakut and Hanweir here, I think. I think that makes sense. Our opponent can... Actually, they can't even stop us from hasting here because they haven't blown their explosives on one yet. So, we're going to be able to haste our Titan. I don't know. Our opponent's kind of just giving us this turn. I don't really understand why. And let's haste the Titan. Okay, we don't have another land drop, sadly, so we're not going to be triggering Valakut this turn. But that's okay. Let's go ahead and attack. Let's leave the Florahedron and the Grazer back. Actually, I suppose we probably don't want to be attacking with these two either. Alright, let's just attack with the Primeval Titan then. Alright, we want the second Valakut here, and anything else? Maybe a Field of the Dead makes sense, maybe a Cavern of Souls. Bajuka Bog doesn't seem super relevant yet. I think perhaps a Talaria West makes the most sense. Let's go with the Talaria West. And for those of you who are concerned that our opponent might be able to stop us from paying for our pact because our Dryad could get killed, we actually have this sneaky little Tangled Florahedron that can tap for green as well. So they'd have to be able to kill our... No, even... They'd have to have a Tectonic Edge for our Growth Chamber, a removal spell for the Dryad. That would kill us, but... Alright. Well, we'll pass it back. That's all we got. And now our opponent blows their Engineer Explosives, of course. As we're at 30 life here, thanks to Courser of Trufix. Seems decent, seems decent. Oh, and our Bog is on top of the deck. That's, interesting. Excuse me. Seems like our opponent does not have access to Urza here, so I think we might be good. We really shouldn't because of our opponent's explosives, but yeah, we can beat this Ensnaring Bridge easily thanks to our Valakuts, so I think our opponent is actually just dead. Alright, let's not lose the game. Thank you. Let's just tap the Valakut. Yup, definitely paying that one. Balagad off the top, sure. Send all of the Valakut triggers. Actually, cancel. Let's do it this way. Let's save targets them. Courser, Amulet, Amulet. Always yes, always yield. And Amulet is good. Probably no reason to float additional mana here. Always yes. Alright, and Bajuka Bog. To the dome. Alright, well, that was game one. We definitely should not have won that, thanks to our opponent's engineered explosives on a 1, but we did. That's nice. Let's bring in Dismembers for those Imris and Urzas. Reclamation Sage, obviously. Force of Vigor. I'm not sure that Force of Vigor actually does anything against our opponent. We do need interaction for their Ensnaring Bridges, potentially. It's not even guaranteed that we need that, but other than that, like, hitting a Thopter Foundry with a Force doesn't really matter because they can just get it back with Imri, and we don't really have good interaction for Imri, so I'm kind of inclined not to bring in Force here, actually, but could be wrong. Maybe for specifically Ensnaring Bridge it makes sense, but I guess for specifically Ensnaring Bridge, we can either kill them with Dryad or Summoner's Pact for the Reclamation Sage and kill the bridge that way, so maybe we're fine. Relic seems like a good way to play around their Thopter Foundry combo, although I'm not sure that we even need to, but bring in the Ghost Quarter as well, in case our opponent is playing Mystic Sanctuary. And the cuts here are probably Glasspool Mimic, as it's weak to removal spells, unless it's going to copy exactly Primeval Titan. Just getting our Dryad or Courser Fatal pushed, and our Glasspool coming in as nothing or a Grazer or something, probably not worth it. So I'm not a big fan of Glasspool Mimic here. The Grazers are pretty terrible. Amulet is pretty good, however. Our opponent could have Ashiok, in which case we probably want to trim a Summoner's Pact. We could bring in Baloth to help us clock an Ashiok. We could also bring in Ramanop for the same reason, and also that Ramanop lets us get back Ghost Quarter, or allows us to play our like Balagads, for example, from the graveyard, Florahedrons if they get killed. I could see that being good. I'm willing to try the Ramanop, especially since it comes down early enough to pressure an Ashiok. What else? What else? I think we can just trim Grazers entirely. I don't think they do anything relevant here. Turn Timber is a little sad if it does get counterspelled by the Dispute. What is it? Metallic Rebuke. That's the card I'm thinking of. If it gets Metallic Rebuke, that's pretty terrible. What else? One card, one card. We probably want Cavern, of course. I think we could trim a basic land. I don't hate that. Let's trim a regular forest, because snow forests are cool. And we'll just go this way and see how it goes. We have a Courser that we can play on turn 3, and we have a Recovery. We have no speed here. I don't know if we need speed in this matchup. I'm inclined to keep it. Maybe it's wrong. Maybe it's too slow, but as our opponent mulligans to 6 here. Yeah, I mean, this hand has a lot going for it. We have Titan mana already. We have a Courser to play, and Courser is actually going to be fantastic in this matchup, I dare say. We have a Valakut naturally, so if we draw a Dryad, we might be able to just use it to get rid of an Imri, or perhaps an Urza, maybe, just naturally with this Valakut and land drops. So, I mean, and then of course we can always still draw an Amulet to play our Courser on turn 2, for example. Drawing a Titan is obviously good. The Recovery is looking kind of weak here, but we'll figure it out. Our opponent leads on an Engineered Explosives on 1. Perhaps they'll pop it this time. We'll play our Valakut and pass it back. Trying to get our tap lands out of the way while we can. We'll probably just lead Snow Forest. Actually, maybe we should play this tapped Recovery so that we can hide it away from discard spells. And that way, if we play our Snow Forest this upcoming turn, we'll be working our way towards Field of the Dead by getting a differently named land in play. I don't know if that means anything, though. Our opponent has a Goblin Engineer in their deck. That's not what I expected. Maybe I should have, though, seeing the red. This is letting them get their Sword of the Meek and put it in the graveyard here. And they can always sacrifice an artifact to return the sword from their graveyard to the battlefield, or any other artifact with a cost of 3 or less here. So, haven't drawn anything to play just yet. Maybe we ought to hold on to the Recovery in case we get our Courser discarded. That way, on our 3rd turn, we have something to do. So, I'm not really inclined to play the Recovery out, as I was discussing before. I'm just going to play the Forest and pass it back. I don't mind doubling up on Snow Forest if it means that we get to resolve a Courser of Kruphix, hopefully. So, our opponent is passing it back. Don't know what they're doing here. Oh, they're attacking for 1. That's intriguing. I don't think that their attacking for 1 is going to kill us, but... And here, our opponent is representing Metallic Rebuke, but with 2 cards, I'm not really scared of their interaction here. I just want to try to get the cards out of my hand while I can, and Courser is the best threat that we have, so let's just go ahead and cast it. Okay, top card of our library is a Relic of Progenitus. That's cool. We can also just tap Relic to get rid of this Sword of the Meek, so that's kind of cool. See if our opponent has an Urza here. Oh, they do. Okay, that definitely could be problematic. So, our opponent's Construct can actually even tap for a blue here, despite the fact that it's summoning sick, because the ability is on the Urza itself. So, as our opponent just demonstrated here, unintentionally, are they going to get back the sword now? No, they're playing Spell Bomb. Okay. Oh, they couldn't get back the sword because this needs to be a red mana, doesn't it? Okay, well, we need to get rid of this Sword of the Meek as soon as possible, so. Dryad on top is nice. Let's play this Relic. Let's play another Relic, I guess. Yep. Right, let's go ahead and target them with the first one so that we have the second one ready to go if they had some kind of shenanigans. Right, sword gone. That's a great first step here. Um, I guess we're just playing out Gruul Turf here, or Growth Chamber, really. And that's fine. We can actually cycle one of our relics here if we want to. That might be the play. Definitely not attacking into our opponent's construct. Pass it back. Our opponent's Urza might take over this game, so perhaps we should have saved our bounce land so that we could maybe trigger Valakut this upcoming turn. We'd have 4 lands in play instead of 3, so we could play land, and trigger Valakut once. I don't know if that would have been relevant or not. Um, our opponent will probably grow our construct out of range of our Valakuts here, and Snaring Bridge. Okay, well, at least we have an onboard way to beat this, thanks to our having naturally drawn the Valakut here, so... And our opponent's construct is greater than a 3/3, so maybe we don't get punished for not being able to use Valakut here. I think I'm inclined to go ahead and cycle this relic as well. At least one of them. Of course, we're waiting until our opponent's instep to do that, so that they can't Thoughtseize away our Dryad. Alright, we have a Bala Ged on top. That's interesting. Another Dryad on top is amazing. So let's go ahead and play our first land as a Ghost Quarter. I suppose we can play double Dryad this turn. Interesting. Alright, let's play a Dryad. Oh no, we can't play double Dryad because we'd have to use one to draw the Dryad off the top of the relic, so... Only a single Dryad this turn, sadly. Rebuke. Okay. We are not paying. And... I guess we're done? Do we exile their card? I guess we do. Might as well not give them any options. And yeah, I guess we're just passing it back. Yep. We might be at the stage of using these recoveries to get back Dryads, as I think our Dryad is going to be taking over this game here. Our opponent definitely can't assemble the Thopter Foundry combo with our Relic in play. I mean, I guess there are things they could do to play around it since they do have artifacts to sacrifice to the combo, so maybe they could do some stuff at instant speed. Alpine Moon. That is a gross one. I don't know if we have an answer to Alpine Moon. I guess we have the Rex Sage, but this is going to deactivate our Valakut, sadly. Yep. So, our Valakuts can tap for a mana of any color, but they lose all other abilities, so... Not doing any damage to our opponent or their creatures with Valakut now, and they're just drawing an extra card every turn with their Urza here by spinning it. As our opponent is about to do right now. Eventually this construct will kill us, so... They hit a land. Alright. Land is not the worst thing in the world. I mean, it's still free, so it's still good for our opponent, but... It's a good thing that they didn't hit anything more relevant than that. And I think with our opponent's Goblin Engineer in play, we may not be able to afford to cycle this relic, as much as I would like to. We see a Titan on top. Okay. I guess if we had cycled, we'd be able to cast Titan this turn, but... That's okay, we'll make do. Let's play a Snow Forest here. And the Dryad. And we'll play a Gruul Turf, I suppose. And we'll leave this Gruul Turf in play and pick up the forest that we played, not only so we have an additional untap source, but so that we have additional land names in play for a potential Field of Dead. And let's go ahead and get this Dryad back into our hand, I suppose. I think it's going to be relevant. Alright, and yeah, we'll just pass it back here. Titan this upcoming turn. Safe from discard spells. Just making sure our opponent can't use this ability on us. It would be funny if they shuffled our library to give us a free spell, but guaranteedly shuffle away a Titan. But unfortunately for them, that's not how it works. So opponent is getting dangerously close to double activating Urza. In fact, they are already able to, hitting land off the top here. Definitely punishes them for playing the land that they drew for turn. So that is something that you have to be conscious of when you're playing Urza Lord High Artificer, is if you have a land to play but you plan on spinning Urza, you probably should not play the land so that you can get your extra card out of it, even if it's just a land that you're holding in hand. And here our opponent gets doubly punished by hitting double land here, so... Okay, so yeah, Titan's coming into play, and there's another Titan on top. I guess we want to draw that one before we cast this Titan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, so let's go ahead. I mean, actually... we might need this relic to deal with Thopter Foundry combo, although I don't know that we can beat that at this point if we were to find Thopter Foundry combo, so... actually, no. We might want to use this relic to help us dig towards specifically Reclamation Sage to deal with this bridge, so... or not the bridge, what am I saying? To deal with the Alpine Moon. So, yeah, let's go ahead and cast this Titan here. Yield. Yes. We'd like to get a Talari West and a Simic Growth Chamber here so that we can get a Summoner's Pact to get this Reclamation Sage and deal with our opponent's Alpine Moon and kill them with the Valcuts. Yep, that is the plan. And let's just go ahead and play Forest. And I mean, I guess we might as well play the Recovery. I don't know, maybe not. Let's just gain an extra life with this World Turf and pass it back. Alright, we're done here, but soon enough we'll be able to kill this Alpine Moon and start getting Valka triggers, and that probably should be the game. Would be nice if we could get access to a second Valcut here, but as our opponent plays a Glimmer Void from hand again before spinning Urza, that's definitely not the best play, but who am I to judge? They find a Thopter Foundry. Of course, they can't combo with this because they don't have the sword, so... I mean, this is annoying as it produces flyers, but actually our opponent can't even attack with them because of their ensnaring bridge. It prevents them from attacking as well, so... alright, they're going at it again. Okay, so it looks like we'll be able to deal with our opponent's Urza this upcoming turn. No more free cards for our opponent. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and do the sensible thing here and transmute. Get a Summoner's Pact. Summoner's Pact for Reclamation Sage. Right there. Be very careful not to click the wrong thing. Reclamation Sage. Kill this Alpine Moon. Alright. Yep. Alright, let's go ahead and start before we play any land draws by playing a second Dryad, just so if our opponent had a removal spell, we could play around it. I should have played the Cavernous Souls off the top. I forgot that we would have a different top card here, but let's kill our opponent's Urza. Always yes, always yield. Alright, we'll pick up the Gruul Turf, play Cavern, naming a Giant. I suppose it might be better to name the Dryad here, but we already have 2 in play, so we're probably good. Gruul Turf. Just keep pouring our cards off the top of our deck here with the value that is Courser of Prefix. And yeah. Alright. Yeah, I guess we're done here. Let's just relic away one of our opponent's cards. Because we might as well just go ahead and do that. And we can attack with everything. Actually, we can't attack with anything. What am I saying? Ensnaring Bridge is a card that our opponent has. And now we can actually Ball-Ged back the Summoner's Pact and then cast another Primeval Titan here. Alright, they just go ahead and concede the game. Well, that was a fairly straightforward match. I feel like we should have lost game 1 if our opponent had gone ahead and popped their Engineered Explosives. I do not know what caused them not to, but game 2 was very convincing there. We even beat the Urza. Of course, when your opponent mulligans to 5, maybe that's to be expected, but... anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this match and learned something from it, maybe. And if you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It helps me, and it helps you, even if you don't realize it. And yeah, I will see you guys for the next match. This is Red Face Menace, signing off.